Hello everyone, it's that time again for another release from Scriptural Reflections. I hope you've all checked out the workshop on setting and achieving great goals, and I hope it's been useful to you. As I said within the workshop, it has been learned some principles that has been really beneficial in my life, and I want to use this platform, I want to use Scriptural Reflections to share some great principles, some great truths which has had a great impact on my life. And my hope is that I have a great impact on your life also. I hope you've seen the other recent release regarding what I'm going to be sharing with you all on this platform. Yes, I want to be sharing workshops. I want to be sharing presentations. I want to be sharing poetry. I want to be using whatever gifts God has given me to be a blessing and to be an inspiration to those of you out there who tunes in. And another thing I want to do is to release some articles on a regular basis, sharing some of the principles that God has taught me through Scripture that I've reflected upon, which I think will be useful to you. Something that I reflected upon some time ago was on the concept of wisdom. There's that story in the Bible, and I know I talked about it in part 3 of the workshop on setting and achieving great goals. But he talks about David. David, at that time, he's one of the greatest people in the Bible. A king, described as a man after God's own heart at one point in his life. Someone we really look up to. But for those of you who has read the Bible carefully, we know that David made some mistakes. He did do some things that were bad. And one of those occasions was when he lusted after another woman. And to cover up that sin from the nation, he decided to kill her husband. A very faithful soldier. Really faithful, really just, righteous person, but he killed her husband in order to cover up his sin. God wanted David to be repentant, to be penitent, to be regretful for what he had done. But how was God going to achieve that goal? Well, he sent his prophet Nathan. And what he could have done is he could have told Nathan to go and tell David off. Go to David and say, how dare you do this? You're the king of Israel. How he set such a terrible example. He could have criticized him. He could have rebuked him. But God sent Nathan to do something else. He wanted to achieve the goal of making David repentant, regretful. But how was God going to achieve that? And he sent Nathan, and Nathan went to David and he said, oh, David, there was this man who had one sheep, and a rich man who had many sheep decided to take that one sheep from that poor man. And David, being a former shepherd who loved his sheep so much that he would risk his life on many occasions to fight off lions and bears to protect his sheep. David was indignant. He was infuriated. How can someone be so wicked when they have their own sheep? How can it take that one man's poor little sheep? And then Nathan said those profound words, thou art the man. But you're not the man who took that one man's sheep, David. You're the man who took that faithful one man's wife, despite you having your own spouses. To me, that's a great story which describes wisdom. God had a goal of making David penitent, and through that wise story that told to David, that goal was achieved. So I think this is quite linked to the previous topic, but it's beyond that. What is wisdom? And one of the things that inspired me to write something like this is I was quite perplexed. I was not perplexed, but surprised, astonished by the high esteem that wisdom is talked about within the Bible. That text in Proverbs chapter 3 verse 15, which says, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared to it. Sorry for that, King James Version English. But of everything you could desire in the world, what is that? £1 million? A wife? A child? Of all the things you could desire in the world, God seems to be saying that wisdom is the thing most to be desired of. And that's something to ponder. And that's something we're going to reflect upon and discuss within issue 1 of Scriptural Reflections article. So, should it really be the number one goal in our lives to be loving or caring? No. To be incredibly wise. Tune in, read, and listen to the latest release. Read the latest release from Scriptural Reflections on wisdom. All the best. God bless you.